Yo, 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 what's up? Welcome to the latest episode of Buttered Popcorn. I am your host, Marlo. Today we are talking about Presence by Steven Soderbergh. The genre is horror and psychological drama. And I say horror because I'm not so sure that it's horror. Actually, I'm pretty sure it's not. We will talk about that a little later. So this is directed by Steven Soderbergh. You must know him by now. He did Ocean's 11, Contagion, Traffic, Side Effects. Those are all really great movies that I like. I even liked High Flying Bird. He's had some really great films, but honestly, he's had some misses. So will Presence be one of those misses, or will it be one of his great films? Drop a like, subscribe if you want to see more reviews. This was written, actually I didn't realize this, but this was written by David Koepp. I think that's how you say his name. He's the dude who wrote the screenplay for Jurassic Park, which is wild. So I actually didn't know that before I watched it, but if you do know that, you expect this to be a really great film. So it's starring Lucy Liu, who's obviously the big cast member in this, the one who's selling the tickets, as Rebecca. She's the mom. Chris Sullivan as Chris, and he's the dad. Kalina Liang as Chloe, who is the daughter. And Eddie Mande as Tyler, who's the son. And Wes Mulholland as Ryan, who's the son's friend. Presence starts out when this new family moves into their new house. It's a pretty nice house, not a mansion or anything, but really nice, old, probably 100 years old, and kind of in this suburban area. Kind of already know from the first shot that this is taking the POV of the presence or the ghost in the house. And the whole film is shot on this kind of like Steadicam, floaty, whisking around the house, watching the family come in and look through the house and really taking a liking to the daughter. Chloe's going through some trauma. I believe her best friend died of a overdose, accidental apparently. The brother is kind of like this jock swim team, number one swimmer, tons of trophies, and the mom, Lucy Liu, Rebecca, she is like infatuated with her son, basically like worships him and does everything for him. And the dad, he's really caring, nice guy, but definitely whipped, kind of Lucy Liu wears the pants in the relationship, and he is kind of along for the ride. I think the interesting part of this movie is the setup and the beginning. Right away, we realize that this is all filmed from the POV of the ghost or the presence. It creates an interesting, creepy atmosphere because we usually don't have that POV. And all of the film is from that POV. To be honest, I was expecting something like Paranormal Activity. This was far from that. One of my problems of this film is that it seems like it was marketed as a horror film. I mean, if I'm looking at IMDb, it says psychological horror, psychological thriller. It does say drama, psychological drama, but in my opinion, this is a drama. This is not a horror film. And I just kept waiting for this film to get scary. There was some creepy moments. If you watch the trailer, it's marketed as a horror film. And from everything online, it's marketed as a horror film. And it just never, ever reaches those heights. I would not call it a horror film at all. And I think that's one of the biggest problems I have with this movie. There's a lot of good in this film. I think the family drama is all of the film. I think we get a great performance from Kalina Liang. I think she has a lot of potential as an actor, but she had this very emotional look into a high school teenager, someone dealing with being overshadowed by a sibling, your mom not loving you as nearly as much as your sibling, just the angst and trauma that someone has to go through in high school when they lose a best friend, especially to something like a drug overdose. I mean, and anyway, but she represented that really well, and I felt for her, and I felt good emotions from those scenes. And a lot of the film was based on that, the drama aspect of the family and the families falling apart when they start to realize that there is a presence in the house. All of that was really great, and I think that's the standout of the film. But when you are expecting a horror film and you don't get it, I think that's the big problem in my eyes, because if you marketed this film as a drama to me and I went in expecting that, it would meet my expectations. But when I watch the trailer and I'm expecting a horror film, I'm expecting something like The Conjuring or Paranormal Activity, and I don't get anything really of that level, to me, that it just made the film not work. And there's some cool things with the camera, just the movement. There were times where the lighting is so dark, because I know Soderbergh has done a lot of experimental with like very minimalistic lighting, very like on set lighting, like not really studio, and practical lighting. And there are times in the film where I'm just like, bro, this is so dark. Like, I understand you're going for this practical, realistic effect, but even I felt, dude, this is so dark, and those type of things distracted me. There were other parts where they were using a bit of special effects, and the special effects just weren't, like, it felt like I was just using like cookie cutter Adobe Premiere effect. It just takes you out of the film when you see that, when you're watching, when you know Soderbergh made this film. This isn't some indie director, some first-time director, and the effects are just like so amateurish. So things like that bothered me. I was always engaged in the family drama and what was going on and trying to figure it out. And there was, a bit of mystery, but it just, the whole time I'm sitting there and I'm wondering, when is this about to get scary? Like, is this about to get scary? And then I think, 20, 30 minutes into the film, no, that's not even true. I was going to say 20, 30 minutes into the film, I realized it wasn't going to be scary. But I kept thinking like, oh, the third act, it's going to get crazy, right? And it just never did. I commend this film for being a great psychological drama, maybe some thriller in it, but as a horror film, it completely let me down. I do want to give shout outs to, we already talked about Kalina. Chris Sullivan was really great as the dad. I felt for him. He, has an over domineering wife who doesn't care that her son is a douchebag. And I actually think that the son, Eddie Made, played his part really well. He was a douche and he played it really well. And Lucy Liu was good, but I felt like her performance was not nearly as good as the daughter or Chris Sullivan, the father. But she had a couple of pretty good moments where I got to see her acting range, and that was really cool. I gotta say this, Wes Mulholland as Ryan, he plays a fairly big role, and I just didn't really enjoy his performance. I don't want to give anything away, but that's all I'll say. I just didn't. I wish they picked someone else for him, because he has a pretty significant role in the film. But other than that, everybody else was really great in their performances. Yeah, I mean, to kind of end it all off, as a family drama, as a psychological drama, like very drama oriented, this film was good. But as a horror film, which it seemed to be marketed, it was not a good horror film. It was not scary. I was never really scared. There were some creepy moments, I guess, but I never felt not even jump scares, like not even psychological scares, not even creepy, plotting, suspenseful scares. And that kind of ruined the film for me. So it's hard to really rate this film because it's marketed as a horror film and it's not really that. But if I had to sum it up, I would say I would give it a 2.5 out of 5. I think it was okay. Yeah, I mean, that's my review. I think it could have been a lot better. But anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that review. Can't wait to review more films. Anyways, peace out.